Hey, so today I wanted to answer a question I'm asked pretty often, which is, where are you in game? Why haven't you been playing? And I'll try to answer that question to the best of my ability. So I'd like to give a disclaimer that I'm going to get into some critiques of the endgame and its systems. So if you're a new player or a currently active player, it's definitely not meant to discourage you from enjoying it. In fact, I think AC is one of the best MMOs ever made, and worth taking your time and experiencing everything it has to offer. So the first reason has nothing to do with the game, it's just being busier, which I'm sure everyone can relate to at one point or another. Second, how do I put this? So when you reach a certain level of financial success, there's just a lot more competing for your attention on any given day. Unless you're a certain Diablo and Path of Exile hardcore player who also happens to be a rocket enthusiast, then apparently it doesn't apply to you. But for everyone else, that's typically how that works. More responsibilities, more options on what to do with your time equals less gaming. So that's part of it, but I would be lying if I said that's the entire reason. I've been doing some challenge runs and team challenges with other runners in Elden Ring Night Reign, so I'm not that busy that I can't game at all, you know? So I'd like to talk about some of the in-game reasons I'm not playing AC as much and not making as much content as I used to. First of all, just naturally, when you reach the top of a mountain, metaphorically, you start to value other experiences until there are more mountains to climb, you know? I haven't had a mountain to climb in AC in a very long time. Mostly down to lack of content updates, just still waiting on anything to really challenge me in an interesting way as a solo player. And I guess my problem is, even taking away melee D, giving myself that difficulty multiplier, there's exactly 2 quests that are difficult enough for me to want to play them or make content on them, which is HMD and Writhed Recall. RTW used to be a third, but it was replaced with this custom version that it's really a negative for solo players. It just doesn't respect your time. It's not that I can't do it. I did it with no melee D, no dispel jumps, no summoning, but it's just kind of bad. Like, basically could have been scaled down for solo or duo, and it wasn't. So it's just a pretty tedious and repetitive amount of damage sponges to kill. Viridian Rise I find very easy and not very compelling to play. You can literally kill everything through a wall, or just kill one thing to get your 3 essences and move on. Everyone's different, but I play games mostly for the mastery and for the enjoyment of the gameplay itself, not just to see number go up arbitrarily. Which brings me to my second point, underwhelming rewards. I'm not a big rewards guy to begin with, but everything you could get is so marginal that I find it to not really be worth it in this janky loot system that's designed for macros. I find that to be not a very inspiring reason to play, like to get a very marginal upgrade that I don't need to do any content in the game. First of all, a huge chunk of content in the game is just me fast casting a debuff rotation for my summons, right? So only spellcraft matters on a lot of the game's content. But the fundamental problem I see with the endgame is that getting a piece of gear that allows you to do a quest like 3 seconds faster doesn't make the mostly underwhelming content any less underwhelming. But the game's a million years old, I'm not trying to be too harsh. I'm just a believer that the path to longevity for AC is content updates and rebalancing. Darlet is a server I was beta testing that has fresh content, that has rebalanced systems, and it's the best iteration of AC I've played so far. It's hard for me to go back to vanilla combat after playing Darlet, because their combat system is just so much better designed with more depth and skill ceiling to it. And after that, vanilla combat just feels super samey. Every character does the same thing. They debuff for summons, unless you want to go really slow on all the content purposefully. They all imp Vuln and hit the thing with no other depth to it. Void has a couple choices to make, but none of the resource costs and none of the ability. It's just not deep or interesting to me, really. So I'm hoping we get some kind of playable release of Darlet by the end of the year. That would be super sick. Even if it was understood that it was a work in progress, I think a lot of people would play it and enjoy it. Overall, for vanilla, I think the leveling experience, the world, the amount of content, the cosmetics, etc., that for your first time is a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 experience. The endgame, from my perspective, having done all the challenge runs, it's like maybe a 5 or 6 out of 10. I don't hate it. There's just nothing at the moment like gameplay or fun-wise to draw me back in. I think what would draw me back in is any form of compelling content update. Apples and oranges, but I have a max level character in City of Heroes emulator. That dev team has been amazing about adding new raids and endgame content, rebalancing classes, adding new classes entirely. I've been super impressed, and as a result, that game's thriving. It's doing really well. And one can only dream of something like that for a no macroing server in AC. Like, what if War Magic made sense? Just saying, how sick would that be? But anyway, I'm probably not done playing or making videos entirely. I just get asked the question often and wanted to be straight up, so there you go. But this is coming from the perspective of someone who's played the end game to death, who's done everything a million times. So if you're enjoying it, don't let it discourage you. There's a lot to like. There's a lot of experiences to have, and I definitely don't look back on them with like regret or anything. It's had awesome times in AC. So yeah, enjoy it. Have fun. As always, have a great day wherever you may be, and I'll catch you in the next episode.